is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is João Fonseca, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paulini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time it is in the world, wherever you are tuning in from. This is another episode of Last Ball Drops, brought to you in association with Tennis Warehouse Europe, which, if you click on the link in the description below, you will be able to enjoy some of the finest tennis products available, but you can also get a discount by clicking on the link below, but then also writing TALK10, TALK 10 at checkout. There are a few players that are checking out of the Australian Open, including Hugo Humbert, including Katie Bolter, including Alex Mickelson. These players are all exiting at the round one stage. Sloane Stephens, of course, a former US Open winner. Grigor Dimitrov as well. João Fonseca, Christian Garin, and Ljubljana Samsonova, as well as Leylah Fernandez and Umpechi Pedicard, all exiting on day one. Those progressing include Sebastian Baez, the informed player, Basavar Eddy, Hubert Hurkacz, Laura Siegemund, Yelena Ostapenko, also the current title holders of the singles titles, that is, of course, Madison Keys and Yannick Sinner, and perhaps most memorably or spectacularly of all, Janice Tjen, ladies and gentlemen. She has progressed at the expense of the US Open finalists of 2021, Leylah Fernandez. Let's dive into that match, but also kind of what it might mean for Janice Tjen and maybe even Leylah Fernandez going forward. Listen, Janice Tjen is a bit of a sensation right now. Been understandably drawn comparisons in terms of her game to Ashley Barty. Tennis Asia here, as in Eddie, of course, drawing attention on social media to this being the biggest win of her career, arguably. As he tweets, she pulls off the biggest win of her career. She beats the 22nd seed Leylah Fernandez 6-2, 7-6 on her Australian Open debut. It's not a Grand Slam debut. She did make, of course, the US Open main draw last year. She was able to utilize her strong serve and forehand well today. She did fail to serve out on that occasion at the end of the second set, but showed good strength of character to then move on and shrug that aside by winning the tiebreak. Hello, by the way. Hi, Jake, and hi, Jane. Jane, very pleased to see that Hubert Hurkacz prevailed as well. Yeah, so Janice Tjen, do let me know your thoughts on Tjen, but also Leylah Fernandez. Where were we at with her career? I mean, perhaps we were thinking after her win in Washington last year that we were going to see a renaissance and some better times ahead, but I would say that that was a false dawn in so many respects, in terms of the fact that she hasn't really been able to follow it up either at the US Open or during the Asian swing. And maybe this is just where we're at with so many players between maybe 5 and 50 in the world on the women's tour, that some will be in the midst of a unbelievable peak and others will be in the midst of a crisis. And that's just because it's such a competitive range. That's probably where I fall on this. And maybe Tjen and Fernandez could play each other 50 times and they'd win 25 each. And it just happened that yesterday wasn't Leylah's day, but it was Janice's. Regarding some of the stats, by the way, from this particular encounter, well, apart from the most important stat of all in terms of it being a straight sets win, let's dive into some of the stats from this match. So we have anything of note? I mean, first serves in 74%. I mean, Eddie does highlight the fact that she served so well during this match. Yeah, 74% is a decent ratio for her. But I think it's also her wily craft and her ability. She's such a fun player to watch, by the way. And Leylah is too. But honestly, Janice Tjen may be more the future than Leylah is right now. And she did hit 17 winners compared to 16 from Leylah. Oh, hang on a second. Yeah. So yeah, total points 176 to 63. But I'm wondering where you think we're at regarding Leylah Fernandez right now. It's a bit of a, as I say, that false dawn winning in Washington last year. Or is it just a fact, this is just a minor blip and she'll be back to winning tournaments maybe later on this year. But really, since that US Open final, she hasn't really kicked on, in my opinion. But Janice Tjen, by the way, is an interesting article I was reading, written by, of course, the late Damien Kust, talking about Tjen after her debut at the US Open last year. But what a debut, of course, that was. She only turned pro at the start of last summer. I'm guessing that's 2024. But since then, she's put together an almost ridiculous 113 record. That was going into the US Open, winning 13 titles on the ITF circuit. I think she's also probably about to, she's the Indonesia #1, of course. And I think she's probably going to be breaking into the top 50 after this tournament. She's obviously the Indonesian #1, and yeah, she's also won 3 doubles titles as well. The 23-year-old, reached number 53 in November last year. I think she might have dropped a few spots since then, but do let me know your thoughts in the live chat on her and that improvement with a first-round upset of Canada's Leylah Fernandez. Yeah, what a moment that was in 1 hour and 43 minutes, by the way. But Leylah Fernandez, 2 from 8 breakpoint opportunities and just winning 2 from 10 return games. Well, I think that's probably as much down to Tjen serving as it is Leylah's returning. But Tjen was much more ruthless, taking 4 of her 7-point breakpoint opportunities. And now Tjen is going to be playing Karolina Pliskova, by the way. Hi to you, Jane, and hi to you, Jake, as well. Yeah, so Pliskova against Tjen. Pliskova today came through against Sloane Stephens, 7-6, 6-2. So a straight sets win for Pliskova over the 2017, I think, US Open winner, Sloane Stephens. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And so, yeah, her against Janice Tjen in the next round. And do you know what? I'm thinking that maybe Tjen is the favourite. Pretty sure these two have never met before. I mean, Tjen, as I say, is pretty recent on the WTA tour. Anyway, but yeah, let's have a quick look to see if I can find out if they have met before. I'm just going to have a quick look into their head-to-head. Of course, it's very difficult to find on the WTA website because that's how the nature of the beast is. Let's see, head-to-head between these two. Yeah, indeed. Not met before. Big gulf, though, in terms of where we're at. Look at this, 17 career titles for Pliskova, just the 1 for Janice Tjen. She did actually get off the mark, of course, last year in that respect. 5 doubles titles for Pliskova, 3 for Tjen. Look at those career earnings. More than $26 million for Karolina Pliskova, and not even 400,000. Still a sizable amount to mere mortals like myself, but yeah, compared to Pliskova, less than 400,000 is somewhat dwarfed. Pliskova, of course, a former world #1. Well, that brings me to a sort of final point when it comes to Janice Tjen. What do we think her ceiling is? I think she can break into the top 20. I think she can even do it this year as well. Do let me know your thoughts on that in the live chat. Yes, Pliskova Stephens, old school popcorn match, but times have changed. Indeed, they have. Okay, back to the present day and the Australian Open and matches that took place today. Let's have a look. Let's stay on the women's side as we began with Tjen. From day 3, we have Madison Keys progressing in straight sets over Nikova. I think I'm saying that one correctly. Diving into some of the important stats there, we have most important stat, of course, the fact it was a straight sets win. But 8 double faults for Madison today. She's going to have to probably cut some of that out if she's going to retain her title. I do think it's going to be a big ask for Madison to retain that title, by the way. She's going to be playing Ashlyn Kruger next, by the way, in an All-American affair. I think I'll see Keys winning that, but I think she'll have a tougher task on her hands than she did today in that win that she had over Olinikova, 7-6, 6-1. Yeah, let me know in the live chat or in the comments below if you think she can retain her title. Yeah. Hi, Tennis Asia TV, by the way. I see you just joined on Instagram. Do feel free to join us, by the way, Eddie, if you want to or are able to, as I think I'm going to be flying solo today for this particular journey. Okay, back to some of the Australian Open results today. We also had Naomi Osaka against Antonia Rucic. This was a match that I was all over. We had a live watch along for it, so I think we can probably dive into this one right now. It was the final match on the circuit. Also, let me know what you think about Naomi Osaka's outfit, by the way. That seemed to be grabbing more headlines than her tennis. A lot of the Twitter sphere was, there was a lot of wagging of tongues, let's say, in terms of the fashion outfit that she chose to come onto court. I'm kind of divided on it. As in, like, half of me doesn't care, and the other half of me suggests maybe if I was somebody whispering in her ear to maybe concentrate a bit more on her tennis, which today left a lot to be desired. She looked sluggish. She looked slow. She looked underpowered and under strength, both in terms of her shot making and even her serve, but also her movement as well seemed to be quite off as well. I mean, she's not the best defender in the world anyway, but if you're underpowered at the same time, bearing in mind that used to be one of her greatest strengths, I think, I think her level today in that 3-set win, but don't forget she was staring down the barrel when Rucic was 4-3 up with a break in the third. That level today is nowhere near enough to see her going much further in this tournament, in my opinion. Do let me know if you agree in the comment section below. Or what about Rucic as well? I mean, she'll be obviously having a few regrets. She did really well to fight her way back into the match after losing the first set. She went down an early break in the third, and I thought that was going to be the end of it. But no, she came fighting back with a break and then another break to be up leading 4-3. And with the touching finish line in sight, I think she got a bit tight. And that was that. And Naomi Osaka progresses at her expense. Other results on the women's side today: Rebecca, a straight sets win for her over Juvan, and Bencic as well over Katie Bolter. Couple of things to say on these two things. I think you've always got to keep an eye on Rebecca in terms of early losses in tournaments, and especially at slams when you think things are going to be going very well for her, she surprises you all and disappoints with an early exit. That happens on many occasions. That has happened many occasions, I would say, since she made the Australian Open final of 2023. Do you think she can make the final again? Bencic, by the way, and Katie Bolter could not be in any more different form and the directions of travel of which they're going to in the tennis world. Bencic is basically back inside the top 10, and Katie Bolter is plummeting, I think, outside the top 100. Which is a far cry from where she was at a year to 18 months ago. But maybe that's Bencic, maybe that's Bolter's level. Maybe Katie Bolter has reached a peak, and really that peak, which I'm guessing would have been top 20. Katie Bolter, career high ranking, 23 in the world is her career high. Yeah, maybe that will remain the case. She reached that at the end of 2024. Yeah, I just don't see her tennis or her confidence in particular right now seeing her return to those kind of heights anytime soon. Bencic, by the way, playing some of the best tennis, certainly since her comeback to the tour post-pregnancy and post-birth. Beating, of course, Iga Swiatek at the United Cup recently. I still think Bencic's movement, I know we're on the movement theme regarding her and Naomi Osaka and also post-birth as well. I do think ultimately that might well prevent her from climbing even greater peaks than she's already achieved in the sport, i.e. winning a Grand Slam. But time will tell, and maybe she'll be proving me wrong. And I'm sure this time last year I was not too bullish on Madison Keys' chances of winning a Grand Slam, but yet there she was winning that Australian Open title a year ago. Oakley dokley, what else have we got? We've got Valentova winning against Maya Join. That's a really disappointing result, I think, for the home favourite Maya. I actually probably had big expectations, both in terms of this tournament, but I think as the year as a whole, I think she can certainly maintain this top 30 ranking and maybe even go higher. So that's a disappointing result for her. That Inglis-Birrell match, by the way, what a barnstormer that was, with Inglis up a break in the first set before being reeled in, but then managing to get over the line. She was up a double break in the second set before Birrell reeled her in and then won an epic second set tiebreak 11-9 before Inglis eventually got over the line 6-4 in the third in exactly 3 hours. That would have been an absolute cracker of a match, not just in terms of the way it panned out, but also 3 hours dead and on John Cain Arena, two Aussies going at it toe for toe. Exciting times there for sure. Okay, elsewhere, I've already touched on Pliskova's win over Sloane Stephens. We also have Kasatkina going out, the newly anointed Australian, switching nationalities recently. Do let me know in the comment section below, by the way, or in the live chat what you think about some of those nationality changes that we've seen over the last couple of years, many of which have been defecting from Russia for, I think, obvious reasons. But yeah, great win there for Bartonkova, especially as she was bageled in the second set. And in fact, being bageled at this tournament, we're also going to come to someone else that was bageled shortly. Being bageled at this tournament seems to mean nothing. Alicia Parks was bageled yesterday and won her match. Bartonkova was bageled today and won her match. And so was Laura Siegemund. And this one was a wild one, ladies and gentlemen, against Ludiana Samsonova. Samsonova winning the first set 6-love. And she was up 6-love, 5-2, ladies and gentlemen. And you're thinking, well, that's that done. Took my eye off the ball, or maybe she did too. Siegemund, not only did she storm back to win that second set, she also won it 6-4 in the third. Well, well, well. Since coming on to Talking Tennis, by the way, not a bad little run for her, obviously making the Wimbledon quarterfinals last year. And then what an incredible win for her. I'm just going to come to the live chat. Yes, indeed, Ghosty is young. Cartel lost as well, so a rough one for the British women. I think it might well be just Emma Raducanu left, indeed. Oh, was she? I didn't know about Inglis crying post-match. I wasn't aware of that. They may well be good friends, but I mean, they are compatriots, indeed. Yeah, I'd be up there for a career slam title. Oh, we already got it that last year with Maddie Keys. Indeed. Yeah. Well, Laura Siegemund's friend of the show status, I think, has slipped. Bearing in mind, we've barely been in contact for the last couple of years. She can certainly reclaim that wonderful crown, and maybe she'd be more desperate for that crown than an Aussie Open crown, bearing in mind how prestigious being a friend of the show obviously is. Okay. Other results on the women's side to dissect. Ostapenko winning in straight sets over Shramkova. Unusually for Yelena. Not a lot to report on that one. She actually was a very professional result there in terms of it being 1 hour and 17 minutes. But I'm waiting for her to explode perhaps in a later round. We also have Kruger skiddling over Bailek 6-3, 6-3. Garasheva overcoming Golubic in 3 sets. And on the women's side as well, Wong beating Kalinina, the qualifier from Ukraine, 6-3, 6-3. Really rough time for the Ukrainians as well on the women's side, many of which crashing out early. And yeah, we also spoke about a little bit, or we had a live stream for Alex Ihala and her doubles encounter, which she went out in as well. So a really rough couple of days for Alex Ayala. She was up 4-love in the first set alongside Ingrid Martens, but managed to lose that first set and ultimately the match in 3 to Magdalene and Aoyama of Japan, who had some interesting net prowess as well. Very smart. But let me tell you this, one final thing I just mentioned about this match. Ayala played well. Lynette was fantastic on serve and especially from the baseline. But Ingrid Martens had an absolute horror show of a doubles match. Really unfortunate for Alex Ayala because she was alongside Eva Lise at Wimbledon last year, Alex Ayala, in the first round, and lost to Ingrid Martens in that first round. And she must have thought, you know what? Just like a great doubles player, I'm going to poach you and have you alongside me in the Australian Open. And it didn't work out today at all. Okay, Alex Ayala, tick. Women's side, I think we are kind of done. I am kind of interested in, let's just have a quick look at some draw ramifications on the women's side regarding the next round and some of the results that we've just spoken about from today. Hopefully you can see this on the screen. Yes, indeed you can. Big fan of Leylah there, bit of love there for Leylah from Ghosty. Back to the draw anyway. Some of the ramifications, I say, from some of the results from today. Oh, we've got a watch along for Coco Gauff against Danilovic with Zach and maybe one or two others, but certainly Zach will be on board for that one against Coco Gauff. So please tune in for our watch along. That should be around about 2 or 3 in the morning in the UK, 3 or 4 in the morning in the rest of Europe. So early evening in California or on the Pacific coast, and mid to late evening on the eastern side, Eastern time. Yeah, I think that's going to be an intriguing one. Also, let me know your thoughts on that one in the live chat as well. I think Coco will prevail. Probably though in 3. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a real fascinating. It wouldn't surprise me if the dynamics would be quite similar to Coco's match with Tomjanovic last year. I think that's very that feels like it's got that sort of affair. And if it's half as good as that match, we will be in for a barnstormer. Talking of stormers, Storm Hunter is going to be playing Hailey Baptiste in the next round. Yeah, but anyway, I want to focus on some of the matches today that had ramifications. Oh, look, just speaking of the devil, Tomjanovic coming up against Rusa. We've already got a preview out for Maria Sakkari against Mira Andreeva. So if you click the video section on our homepage, you'll see that. We've also got a preview for Pegula against Kessler out as well. So check that out too. We've already spoken about Tjen Pliskova. Keys is coming up against Kruger. We did touch on that as well. Noskova Preston, Wong Ostapenko, Peyton Stearns, Marchenko. Marchenko, of course, she lost recently quite badly, I think, to Alex Ayala. So it's interesting what a difference a week or two in tennis makes in terms of the fact that we had Alex Ayala on cloud 9 probably a couple of weeks ago as she was winning against Donna Vekic and also Marchenko. And now Alex Ayala's had back-to-back defeats in singles and doubles, and Marchenko is still alive in the Australian Open. Siniakova against Anisimova. A lot of people purring over Amanda, understandably. Rybakina's reward for her win today in straight sets over Jouvin is a match against Grasheva, the French woman. I'm going to see if they've actually played before. They have on 2 occasions, and Elena Rybakina, currently ranked 5, Grasheva ranked 77. Rybakina won both of those in the past, both of those 2 matches. Yeah, 2-0. And the first one came in Indian Wells in 2023, also on a hard court. Straight sets win for Rybakina, and also a straight sets win in St. Petersburg in 2022. Also on a hard court. Interestingly, Rybakina lost 3 games in both of those matches. She won 6-2, 6-1 in Russia, and It's the first leg of the Sunshine Double, a title, of course, that she went on to win in 2023. She won 6-3, 6-love over Krasheva. So, yeah, form probably slightly with Rebecca as well, obviously coming off the back of the WTA Finals title. If you can carry that form into the new year, I think it's fair enough to still bear that in mind. I think that is a fair one. Make sure you, by the way, hit that like button. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Okay, final sort of look at some of the ramifications from some of today's matches. By the way, at one point, it was looking very good for the Japanese in terms of Ayama coming through the doubles, but also we had a gentleman on the men's side that we'll be coming to shortly, was up a set on Stefanos Tsitsipas, but we'll come to that, as I say, shortly. Bencic's reward for her win over Katie Balter is a match against Bartonkova. Osaka against Chastea. That has sort of US Open vibes of, I remember Chastea having a good run to the quarters in 2023, I think it was. Or was it 2024? 2023, I think. And Naomi Osaka, obviously a former US Open winner. That is a nice second round match of particular interest. Chastea, of course, in her last year on the tour, she has announced her incoming retirement. And she had a great first round win over the aforementioned Evelise in 3 sets. Osaka, as I said earlier, came through 3 sets today and looked very sluggish in that win. Their head-to-head, by the way, they've only met once before, and Chastea won it. 2015. Wow. It was at Wimbledon. It was a 3-set win for Chastea. That is incredible how these two have never met before. I mean, yeah. 1-0. How about that? For the Romanian? Well, if this is her last year and perhaps her last meeting with Osaka, she'll be keen to preserve her unbeaten record against the 4-time Grand Slam winner. Chastea's highest career ranking is 21, and Naomi, of course, has been at number 1 in the world. Chastea, 35 years old, last year on tour. Naomi Osaka could and should be reaching her peak right now, but in terms of results, that peak was 4 or 5 years ago. And like I say, I had a lot of optimism in 2025 regarding Naomi, including the coaching change. I think moving on from Moratoglu to Viktorovsky, of course, the former coach of Iga Swiatek. I thought that was a smart move. It gave her a revitalized freshness going into the US Open, for example, where she had a great run to the semis and was narrowly missed out on an appearance in the final, losing a really tight 3-set affair with Amanda Anisimova that was a cracker and could have gone either way. And that, I felt great about Naomi's chances going into 2026 as a result. And maybe today was just a blip, an off day. Maybe she wasn't feeling well. There's all sorts of things that we don't know that could be going on behind the scenes. But yeah, that level today from Naomi will not see her reach the second week. But I do think she's still probably got enough to dispense off Sorana Chastea and level that head-to-head up at 1-1, but probably in 3 sets. Who are my picks for the title? Very boring. On the men's side, I have Jannik Sinner, and on the women's, Aryna Sabalenka. Sorry, couldn't be more exciting than that. Okay, make sure you hit the like button. And of course, if you want some tennis merchandise, go to the link below on the Tennis Warehouse Europe link and make sure you check out and click or use the code TALK TALK10 at checkout and you'll get some nice discounts. Yes, Ashley, very boring prediction. I'm sorry. You can call me boring, John. I am sometimes very ambitious with my picks, but yeah, I can understand, though, the optimism regarding Amanda Anisimova. That is for sure. Okay, back to some of the ramifications behind the results from today. Lauda Siegmund's reward for her spectacular win over Samsonova is a match with Inglis, Kalinskaya against Graba, Swiatek against Bouzkova. Shall we have a look at Swiatek, Bouzkova? I guess we can. So yeah, Iga Swiatek against Marie Bouzkova. Buskova has I think it's fair to say, defensive-ish style, one without any great weapons, normally a style matchup that Iga likes. These are the keys to the match according to the Aussie Open website. Let's see if I agree with it. Well, talking about Buskova, she has an aggressive return position. Well, I think that might be a slightly optimistic way of putting it, to put early pressure on Iga's serve and create chances in service games. I do think that is a bit of an issue this year compared to yesteryear for Iga. Her second serve is being attacked a little bit more. And although it does make a good point here regarding Iga's powerful forehands and heavy spin, as she likes to keep Buskova back and control the rallies, I don't disagree with that. But you can also attack the forehand. There's a difference between giving the forehand like you would with Coco Gauff and waiting for the error, or pushing, let's say. Not pushing as in a defensive way, but going a little bit more aggressively towards the forehand and seeing how Iga can defend on the forehand side, which I think is a weakness that has been exposed even in some of the recent matches she had at the United Cup against Bencic and the aforementioned Coco Gauff. So, yeah. But Iga's pretty clutch. She can also stay patient and wait for her opportunity. But, yeah, Buskova, I don't think has the weapons to ultimately hurt Iga. And they're head-to-head, by the way. Let's have a look at that head-to-head before we move on. To see if there's anything to give Buskova any hope. I don't think so, to be honest, but we could be wrong. Their head-to-head is 2-0 in favor of Iga Swiatek. Those two victories coming in as recently as Wuhan, by the way, on the hard court, 6-1, 6-1, that one going Iga's way. And it was a straight sets win, a bit more predictably, at Roland Garros in 2024. And I see Iga winning again, probably in 2 tight-ish sets, maybe even with a tiebreaker. Okay. I think that is the women's side of the draw and some of the results from today. Tick. So let's have a look at some of the men's results from today. Okay, on Rod Laver Arena, we had first up Ben Shelton winning in straight sets over Hugo Humbert. 3 tight sets, but 3 sets nevertheless. And I think this result is big. Big Ben, arguably, getting a big result on a big court against a big opponent. 6-3, 7-6, 7-6. And I thought this was a banana skin. I thought this would go 4 or 5. And I'll tell you why I had it being that tight and going that close. Because I thought Ben was still, post-US Open injury, feeling his way back to the tour. And of course, that feeling back into the tour would, to some extent, would have been interrupted with the off season. He had a rough time at the ATP finals last year, and I thought that that might impact him and his form coming into this result. And Humbert, who has just won a title, by the way, in Adelaide, I think it was, wasn't it? Where he won the title last week, beating, oh no, he lost to Mahach, sorry, in the final, didn't he? But nevertheless, Humbert's form, top, and was definitely a potential banana skin for Ben Shelton. But ultimately, Ben prevailed in straight sets. We'll have a quick look at the stats before seeing who Shelton is due to play in the next round. Yeah, Shelton, 15 aces to 5 of Humbert, and Ben double faulting just twice as well. That's quite important, bearing in mind how big his serve is. And he got 78% of his first serves in. That is not necessarily, 70% of his first serves in. That is not necessarily a particularly standout figure. It can be better. You know, I'm sure some players like Zverev can often be pushing 80%. But when you're serving as big as he is on that first serve, 70% is going to help you win a lot of points, and it helped him win 78%. By the way, just 49% of second serves won by Hugo Humbert today. And I think that is particularly disappointing for Hugo because Ben's return game can leave a lot to be desired. I would suggest it's probably the weakest part of his game. I know some people might point to the backhand, but I disagree. I think his return just in general is an issue. I've seen him try all different types of tactic, rushing, net rushing, and standing inside the baseline, even on big servers like Zverev, for example, at the ATP Tour Finals, and it just doesn't seem to work. The rest of his game is there or thereabouts. I think Ben's net game could improve, but it's still okay. It's not elite, but it's okay, and I think there's room for improvement there. The return might always be a weakness for him. But anyway, today it didn't let him down too much in general, and I tell you what, let's have a quick look at the break points won. Oh, Ben was also able to garner 10 break points on the Hugo Humbert serve and only take 3 of them. I think if he'd lost the match, you'd be going, wow, 3 out of 10, 30% is particularly disappointing. But didn't matter for him today, and he won 3 from 10. Hugo Humbert was actually much more ruthless. Hugo Humbert didn't have many looks at the Ben serve, but when he did have a look, he took it. He took 2 break point opportunities on occasion, but Ben managed to hold out and win in straight sets. And he's next going to be facing Dane Sweeney of the United States. I wish our dear friend Damien was here right now, because I'm sure he would be filling me on Dane Sweeney, but I can't tell you too much about him, unfortunately, because I am not across tennis in the same way that our dear late friend Damien Kust was. But he's ranked 182 in the world, and his prize money in his career is less than 600,000, which I'm sure is dwarfed by Ben Shelton, who's going to be on the other side of the net. Sweeney, by the way, came through today in at the Australian Open. Today, was it? Or yesterday, maybe? I'll check that out. I think it was today. Yeah, he came through, of course, beating Gael Monfils in 4 sets. It's his maiden Grand Slam victory over the Frenchman. Of course, the Frenchman's about to bow out at the end of this season. And that's the last time we'll be seeing Gael Monfils at the Australian Open. He, of course, was a quarterfinalist as recently as 2022. Monfils, that is, not Sweeney. And so it is Sweeney who is coming up against Ben Shelton. I wonder if they've ever played each other, not necessarily on the main tour, but elsewhere. I almost certainly on the main tour they haven't, but they might have played each other at the challenger level or elsewhere. No, doesn't appear to have played each other at all. So they're going to come up against each other in the next round, but I would imagine Ben, now having got through that first round, that's the sort of difficult one, especially in terms of the opponent, but also in terms of where he was at with his tennis. And now he's got that monkey off his back, so to speak. I expect him to prevail quite comfortably over Sweeney, probably in straight sets. Thank you, Ashley, as well, for sending that donation in. Much appreciated. Anyone else who wishes to make a donation can also do so by clicking on, I think there's like a dollar sign or maybe a euro sign. Goes to, yeah. We will all miss him greatly. And I think, yeah. What else can I say? Just constantly reminded of him when you're working in this sport. But yeah, Shelton against Sweeney. Shelton in straight sets for me. And that's that. All right, let's have a look at some other results from today on the men's side. Yannick Sinner progressing. I was going to say in straight sets, but that's not strictly true. He was winning in straight sets at the time that Hugo Gaston retired, injured. He was up 6-2, 6-1, so I'm not sure that Gaston was ever likely to make a comeback from there. But yeah, he did win there in straight sets. Yannick Sinner, by the way, his path to the second week looks pretty comfortable to me, and he's going to be playing Duckworth in the next round. Duckworth, by the way, came through today against Prismic in 5 sets. I'm sure that would have been a match that Damien would have been all over as well. A great win for him over Prismic, by the way. 7-6, 3-6, 1-6. So he had to come back from 2 sets to 1 down to ultimately prevail 7-5, 6-3 in the final 2 sets. But I don't see Duckworth laying a glove on our Italian friend Yannick Sinner. Okay, back to the Italian or Australian Open and some of the men's results today. Well, here are 4 results for you on the screen. Musetti also had his opponent retiring, and probably a little bit more fortuitously, bearing in mind how rope-a-dope that was, because he lost the first set to Collignon, the Bonn Open semi-finalist. And by the way, Collignon, of course, had some wins at the US Open last year as well. So he's been making waves since that Bonn Open run. But yeah, Musetti. I'm surprised, by the way. Gil Gross has got big things for Musetti planned for 2026 in terms of, I think, a career high number 3. I think he's got him 4 in his year-end rankings on the men's side. Whereas Steve Flink and I have Musetti dropping out of the top 10. And for me, it's because of his hard court abilities. I still see him, particularly on the backhand side, being much more attackable on the unnatural surfaces or surface. And yeah, I'm less optimistic, but that's going to be a race, and we'll see how that pans out. He'll probably end up sort of coming between the 2 stools of Steve and I having him outside the top 10, and Gil Gross having him as a career high number 3. He'll probably end up being somewhere between 5 and 10 in the world. Tsitsipas had a scare, losing the first set against Mochizuki before prevailing in 4 sets. Taylor Fritz, big question marks over his health, I think, remain. I think he's had some tendonitis and some knee issues. Wouldn't have been helped by the way he got pushed today to 4 sets in over 3 hours, but he did ultimately prevail. Khachanov, by the way, winning in 5 sets over Mickelson in almost 4 hours. That did kind of have 5 sets written all over it before it started. And Mickelson, Brad Gilbert says he thinks Mickelson is a potential Grand Slam winner. Well, I don't see that level in the level that we've seen from Mickelson thus far. I'd be shocked if he wins a Grand Slam in his career. That's not me underestimating Mickelson. Well, maybe it is me underestimating Mickelson, but I think even in Alex's wildest dreams, I think that's probably a pitch for Brad Gilbert to become Alex's coach at some point in the near future. Fellow American. And Brad Gilbert is on the market to become a coach. We'll see how that pans out. The aforementioned Sweeney winning in 4 sets over Gael Monfils. Dimitrov, by the way, straight sets loss against Mahac today, 1 hour and 45 minutes. Dimitrov, probably this Grand Slam at least, is coming a little bit too early in his comeback. Plus, Mahac is in great form, having won the Adelaide title last week. I think regarding the Mahac thing, it's all about staying healthy for him, because so many times we look at him in tournaments and see how he's getting on, but ultimately he's retired, hurt, or withdrawn through injury. Darderi winning in straight sets over Garin, but perhaps the surprise or the result of the day would have been João Fonseca's loss against Elliot Spitzity. João Fonseca, of course, is someone that a lot of people, including myself and Steve Flink, have big expectations for 2026. But Fonseca said afterwards he regretted playing this tournament after losing in the first round. The back injury, I think, was having an effect. Spitzity, by the way, winning in 4 sets, 6-4, 2-6, 6-1, 6-2. As you can just see, Zhao fading big style in sets 3 and 4, and Spitzity is now going to be playing Wu Yibing in the second round. In the build-up, of course, to the tournament, we had Roger Federer bigging up Zhao's chances in general. I think he sort of suggested that maybe Zhao should maybe just wait on pulling the trigger on certain points, but that will come with experience. And of course, Zhao a year ago is going to lose a few points because he really impressed on his Grand Slam debut this time last year, beating Rublev in straight sets in the first round before going down in 5 against Lorenzo Sonego. And this was a really good period for Zhao, wasn't it? Winning the Next Gen finals in November 2024, winning a challenger in Canberra in the January just before the Australian Open breakthrough, beating Andrei Rublev. And then shortly afterwards, in February of last year, he won his first ATP Tour title in Buenos Aires. That little period there, and of course there will be a few points that he could be potentially losing in Argentina as well, especially if he's not fit by then, because I think he might well take a few weeks off the tour and we might not see him before the Golden Swing. Yeah, So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few weeks for João. He's got to get that back sorted. But Spit City plows on through. But yeah, Fonseca said he regretted playing. Oh, no, doesn't regret, sorry, playing. Oh, maybe I'm misreading that. Okay, he's answered the question if he regrets playing, and he says he doesn't regret playing. My bad. I felt I played good. I didn't play very bad, but didn't play as good as well. Okay. I felt wasn't 100% yet. I'm not saying about pain or injuries, more preparation or a physique. Okay. So it's just about match time and reps, I think, in terms of time on the court. Probably just needed a bit more time. So, of course, he skipped Brisbane, didn't he, in the build-up? And he's had to come back, but slowly, and then stopped again and didn't manage to train with a lot of intensity. I think a first or an early loss was kind of on the horizon for him, in my opinion, here in Australia, and that did manifest itself. And the tournament just came a bit too soon. I think probably a couple of weeks practice, and he might even go back to Brazil and just practice on clay for the next 3 or 4 weeks and get himself ready for the Golden Swing in February. That would be my prediction or anticipation there. Oakley dokley. Moving on. Let's have a look at some other results from today. So bad couple of results there for the South Americans, Garin and Fonseca. Hubert Hurkacz lost the first set against Zizou Bergs, but came through in 4 sets today, whilst Basavaredi won a 5-set, 4-hour, 8-minute epic over the wild card from Australia, Christopher O'Connell. That was 4-6, 7-6, 6-7, 6-2, 6-3. So he was 2 sets to 1 down, but he did win those last 2 sets reasonably comfortably. Hubert Hurkacz, who's arguably the form player on the men's side coming into this tournament, partly because Fonseca, partly because Alcaraz and Sinner, of course, didn't play any build-up tournaments. But anyway, he lost the first set to Zizou Bergs. I saw Zizou's father saying how proud he was of him, and it was a really close one for 2 sets, 2 tiebreakers, one going the way of Zizou, the other one going the way of Hubie. Hubie back in terms of the tiebreak king that he is. He plays a lot of them, and but he rounded off the last 2 sets 6-3, 6-3. So well done to Hurkacz there. Baez. Oh, by the way, informed players. Baez will be saying, hey, don't forget me with his little arm at the back. I'm pretty informed too. And he showed as much in the first 2 sets against Giovanni and Pecci Pericard today, winning the first 2 sets. But he then lost the next 2. And you're thinking, wow, this is a real contrast, by the way. Lovely contrast between Pecci Pericard and Baez. Baez, pretty small, and Pecci Pericard pretty big. Baez arguably having the weakest serve, maybe in the top 100 players in the world, and Pecci Pericard arguably having the biggest serve amongst the top 100 players in the world. Baez, back of the court prowess, and Pecci Pericard doing what he can and hitting bombs where he possibly can. Double-handed backhand from Baez, one-handed backhand from Pecci Pericard. Yeah. Yeah. So that was that. But Baez came through in 5, maintaining his excellent run pre-Australian Open. Hodar, by the way, 5-set win for him over the Japanese qualifier. Both of these 2 qualifiers, Sakamoto. And Hodar, Wimbledon Juniors champion last year. Maybe he's the guy we should be looking out for this year for maybe even a top 100 breakthrough. Yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I think he won it in 2024, wasn't it, that he became the Wimbledon Juniors champion? Anyway, not 2025. But yeah, Hodar is through. Ashley here, very pleased on Basavaredi's level. Okay, scrolling on down, Jakob Mensik needed 5 sets to beat Pablo Carreño Busta. Pablo Carreño Busta, I think the rest of his career, the most memorable thing for him will always be the bag throwing incident when he lost that epic match, I think in 2018. Maybe 2019, 2017, not sure. Mensik anyway prevailing, was 2 sets to 1 down to the Spaniard before coming through in 5. Mensik as well as another guy who won a title on the eve of the tournament, but did prevail today in 5. Duckworth against Prismic, we've already touched on, with Duckworth winning in 5. Talking of winning in 5, that's exactly what Kopshiva did against Jan-Leonard Struff. Poor Jan-Leonard, again, is another player, I think, in terms of his age and also where he's had with health issues with his hip in particular in the last couple of years. I do think maybe his best days are behind him. Yu Bung-woo winning in 4 sets over Luca Nardi, and Lorenzo Sonego, a comfortable win for him over Carlos Taberna today. 6-4, 6-love, 6-3. And a great straight sets win for Ethan Quinn against Talon. Greek sport, by the way. That certainly went under my radar. Nice 3-set win for him. 6-2, 6-3, 6-2. All right, let's have a look at some of the draw ramifications for some of these results from today. As we scroll through the draw here for you guys before we bring this show to a close, do make sure you hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe if you are new. What results did we have today? Well, we had Sonego, didn't we, beating Taberna and setting up an all-Italian clash with Lorenzo Musetti. Musetti should win that. I think Musetti, by the way, has a very healthy head-to-head with Sonego, a very advantageous head-to-head. Let's have a quick look at their head-to-head. Oh, actually, not as advantageous as I thought. It's 1-1. So, yeah, 1 each. So Sonego won the most recent clash. Actually, I'd forgotten about this one at the Paris Masters Indoor. Yeah, won that one in 3 sets, but Musetti won in Vienna, also on indoor. So it's the first time they're playing outdoors, but I am just going to go for Musetti in 4 sets. Okay. Back to the Aussie Open. Draw. Where are you? Okay. Mahatch against Tsitsipas. Ooh! Tsitsipas has to be former Australian Open finalist, of course, in 2023, losing to Djokovic that year. And I think he's losing to Thomas Mahatch. Mahatch, a really impressive straight sets win today over Dimitrov. And if Mahatch can stay healthy, that's I think there's one of 2 possible outcomes here. Mahatch either retires hurt at some point and retires, or Mahatch wins. Probably in 4 sets. Have they played before? Let's have a quick look. Mahatch, Tsitsipas head-to-head. Yes, they have. They played just once before. And Tsitsipas won it, but it was in 2023 when Tsitsipas's form was very different on the indoor hard. It was a tight 3-setter that went the way of Stefanos. But yeah, I'm going for Mahatch to level up that head-to-head today. I have a question. How many players have won 50 Grand Slam matches? Novak, oh, well, okay, not many, I wouldn't have thought, but I'm sure Google can help you answer that one. Do hit that like button, of course, and subscribe if you are new. Oakley dokley. Let's go back to the draw and see what we've got coming up. One more match maybe that could be worth having a quick look forward to. I've already spoken about Shelton. Chapeau Chilich done that one as well. Oh, I spoke about Munar Kasparud earlier today, so there's already a preview video out for that one, so please do check that one out. And shall we just have a quick look at Khachanov Basavaredi? Both of them came through 5-set matches today. So these 2 guys are going to come up against each other, having been battered and bruised in the previous round. Basavaredi winning in 5 sets against Christopher O'Connell, coming from 2 sets to 1 down to overcome the Australian. Khachanov had to beat Alex Michelsen. They were at 2 sets all, of course, as you would be going into a 5th set, but Khachanov lost the 1st set before ultimately prevailing in 5 over the American. It's a good win for Khachanov, and I think Khachanov is kind of back to where he is, seeded 15 here, and that does feel like his level. And Yeah, Khachanov against Basavaredi. This could be another long one as well. So it's not like they can look forward to the next round and bash one or the other off the court. I do see this being a pretty much a baseline exchange. Khachanov obviously been the more experienced player of the two, made the semi-finals in 2023 before he lost to Stefanos Tsitsipas. But yeah, Khachanov against, in a couple of days against Basavaredi. I don't think they've played each other before. We're going to have a quick look now to see if they have. But, oh, they have once. And Khachanov leads the head-to-head 1-0. That only occasion they played was actually not that long ago at the US Open. Hard court, 4 sets win for Khachanov. And I'm going to go the same again. I think Khachanov wins this in 4 sets. Big thanks for joining me today. We will have a live watch-along coming up later on between Coco Gauff and Olga Danilovic. So make sure you tune in for that one. And for everybody else, you know the drill. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.